Have you ever seen a spreadsheet like this? It's just a total mess, but rest assured, we can fix these misaligned columns and put the data where they're supposed to go with just a little bit of VBA code. If you follow along, even if you've never written code in your life, I promise you can do this. It's really not that bad. And don't worry, I'll make sure to provide a link to the full code in the video description. As I'm recording this, I'm battling COVID-19, so my voice might sound a little bit different. So thanks for bearing with me, and let's go ahead and get started. Yeah, this kind of thing can happen when data is not properly imported or pasted into Excel, or when somebody incorrectly sorts a few fields, it can get all messed up like this. Basically, though, if you can describe each column's distinct data structure, you can fix it. For example, we know that American zip codes have 5 digits, and phone numbers in America have 10 digits with parentheses. So we can describe these and our other fields using something called Regex, or regular expressions, and it's basically a way to describe a sequence of characters or some kind of alphanumeric pattern. So that's what we're going to do. Go ahead and hit Alt and F11 to open up the VBA window. Then we're going to use both of these together, regular expressions and VBA. Okay, so we're going to name our subroutine organize data with headers. And this dim part in the next line, basically we're declaring 3 variables, regex, matches, and these are going to be objects, and cell value is going to be a string. Now dim I is long. Basically, this is a variable we're going to call I. It's a long integer, and it's used for looping through rows. And then the next one here, worksheet, we're just declaring this as a worksheet. So our worksheet is sheet 1, basically. And you can see that with the next one there. So by default, it's sheet 1, so you can replace this with your own if yours is different. And then we're going to initialize the regex object to use VB script regular expression. So we got to sort of import this, I guess. What we're doing with this regex global here is we're going to set the property of the regex object to true, and this is going to allow it to find all matches in a string, not just the first one. So we're going to find all of them, and that's kind of key here. All right, this next part is actually not that bad. What we're doing here is we're setting up our new columns where we're going to put our data once it's fixed. And so we're going to count the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th columns here. And so we're going to put our friend name column here, our age here. We're going to put zip code here and phone right here. And so these are the 4 right here. So 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, if you wanted to go further down, let's say you want to start at 10. You go 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, let's go back to our code and let's maximize this. Okay, so for I equals 2, what we're doing is we're starting in row 2 and we're looping through all of our rows. We're not starting at row 1 because 1 would assume we're going to have our column names there and we don't want to count that. So that's why we're skipping that. We're starting in row 2. Bottom line, these lines of code are looping through each row, starting from the second row because we're skipping the headers. Combine the values from the first 4 columns of each row into a single string, and then we're outputting the string for debugging purposes. And so that's why we're using the regex to go through this single string and extract the data that we want. In some languages, spacing does matter. You don't have to do these tabs like I did, but I just like to because I'm used to it from languages like Python and stuff. But just wanted to mention that. Okay, we're going to go do some regex now, and we're going to add that to our code. So I'm going back here, and this is going to show you how this works with phone number. And if this is confusing, don't worry about it. I get you covered at the end, but just let me kind of show you here. So we're getting this phone number, and you can see the first part there. This is how we get 903 with the parenthesis. And then after that, we have a space. That's pretty self-explanatory. And then we got the 333 dash. You can see we're getting 3 digits there in the dash. And then the last part there, we're getting the last 4 digits. There's the 4-digit part right there of the regex. So that's generally how it works. If it's confusing, don't worry. You can use ChatGPT, and I'll show you how to do that pretty easily at the end. All right, let's go back to our code, and we're going to add in these regex parts here. So in this first block, it's adding the phone number, and so if there's a match, it's going to throw it in a column I. For the second one, if it finds a zip code, it's going to throw it in a column H. And then for the age there, it's going to identify it and throw it into G. And for names, basically anything without numbers, in this instance, it's going to throw it into column F. And finally, the next I just added at the end is just so we can loop to the next row. All right, let's go ahead and run this code and see if it works, which it should. So I went to run and then run sub. All right, so it looks like it worked. That's great. You can see columns F through I there. Now, if you want to add a button like I did, you're going to have the developer tab open. And by default, it's not there. So we're going to have to set this up. I'll show you how to add it. So you want to go to File, Options, customize a ribbon. And then you want to find the developer tab. Mine's already checked. Just hit OK after you check it, and then it'll appear up there. All right, so go there to developer. I'm going to go to insert, and we're going to put in a control here. This is a button. All right, you can just set that wherever. And you just made a macro, and you only have one in there. Just hit OK. And now, when you click it, it's going to give you the results. So you could put a checkbox there if you want to, although that might require some logic if it's checked and unchecked. You could add a text box for it to do that. You could do whatever. If the regex is just too difficult to understand or to work with, don't worry, I got you covered. I'm going to show you how to work through it. All right, so let's go to ChatGPT here, and let's say I want to look for a pattern of social security numbers, and then ChatGPT will basically give it to you. There's the pattern right there, and you want to copy and put that in your code. And I'll show you how to do that. Let's just pretend for a minute that we want social security numbers. And so we'll copy that, and where our pattern was before, we would just replace it. So you can just see what I'm doing right there. Just for demonstration purposes, I'm not going to actually put it in there because I don't want to mess this up, but I did want to just show you where to put that. All right, so let's run this one more time just to get a good look at it, and then we can end things there. So bam, you hit that button, and instantly there it goes. So as always, I will provide the code for this, so don't worry. Just look at the video description. In the meantime, really appreciate you watching. Thanks for subscribing and liking and commenting and all that, and take care, everyone.